Good evening, everybody! Welcome to International Sim Racing Organization's broadcast of the German Grand Prix from Hockenheim. Cars are doing their warm-up session just now. A little bit of a later start for us this time, but we're so glad to have you here with us for what should be a very exciting race. And I'm joined in the booth by Alberto, Ibañez, and Ryan Walker. Gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening, everybody. Pleased to be here for another great evening of ASOR Racing.
Yep, good evening, everyone. It's good to be back.
Yep, so we're coming to you from the pine forest of the Upper Rhine Valley in Germany. This is a very picturesque part of Germany. And I guess you could say also, you know, in the shadow of the old ring, it's a place that maybe doesn't have the soul of what most people would consider the history of the German Grand Prix, but still, you know, this is the home of the modern version of Hockenheimring today, and still the German Grand Prix. Today we're doing the classic layout, long straights interrupted by chicanes, finishing with a dramatic stadium section. Yeah, there are a lot of critics who would say that this track lacks the soul of a lot of other tracks, but I don't think you can deny, gentlemen, that this is a track that has its own unique allure. I'm talking about just the flat-out speed, going through the stadium section, all the people that are there. You know, what are your thoughts on this track and its place in history?
Well, it's a track that obviously undeniably was rigged for speed from the very beginning. It was a track laid out with very long straights amid the German forest, as you can see there in the track map. And it was slowly made down slower and slower and slower as the accidents started to happen. You know, this is the track, if I'm right, where Jim Clark lost his life in a Formula 3 race.
That's correct, yes.
Yes, that's absolutely unexpected. But yeah, it's a very, very quick track that has been progressively slowed down, and now in the modern version of it is completely different. It's mostly the stadium section with some diverts to a certain part of it, but it doesn't have the long mythical straights. And yes, it does. It might seem as nowadays as a track with less personality because it has that layout that doesn't look as too complicated, just basically rigged for speed. But you can be sure that this is the track that provided very mythical battles over the history of it. So I think that we are going to enjoy the races today a lot, because these cars, for sure, with the huge power figures that they are pumping out, they are very, very well matched for this track.
Ryan, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's one of my favourite tracks, not just in real life, but sim racing in general. And it's I prefer this version of Hockenheim just because it always seemed to produce great racing in the 70s and early 80s, and also the early 90s as well. And I think today with the long straights, I wouldn't be surprised if you see plenty of slipstreaming battles going on. But I think it's just one of those tracks that it's got a bit of everything. You've got long straights, you've got chicanes, you've got basically tight sections as well, so it makes it a fun challenge.
Yeah, I agree. This circuit, you know, it definitely has its own special allure. I mean, one thing in particular I would point out, you know, early on, you know, drivers are very focused and everything, but as mental acuity starts to wane and you start to get physically tired and mentally tired. I mean, it's not a physically demanding track, to be sure, but you'll, as you get tired, you may miss your turn-in point, or you may miss your braking point for one of these chicanes, and it can change everything. So you can't afford to let your attention slip at all. So
yeah, for sure, the speeds here are absolutely a killer. I mean, we have seen Grant, for example, topping 360 kilometers per hour in the main straight, which is absolutely insane.
Speaking of which, there he is on camera right now. Of course, he won the last time out at Brands Hatch. And there's this Mickey Mouse kind of chicane that... Oh, my goodness! Oh, there's an accident just now as we look at the chicane. My goodness. And Grant quickly goes back to the garage. But that chicane was put in, obviously, after the... I think the main catalyst for that... Was it the Depaille accident that occurred? That kind of... put away the speedy version of the Ost curve, and they put in the chicane at that point, or am I getting my facts mixed up?
I'm not sure, to be honest about that.
In any case, it was a stopgap solution by putting the tires in there. And we've seen incidents in the past where embarrassing things have happened there. One that comes to mind is an accident between PK and Salazar there when PK was leading the race, which resulted in a kickboxing match by the side of the track. But yeah, threading the needle on that particular, like, let's watch now. We're on board with Tim Hilla. Now watch what happens as he comes down here to this chicane. Well, this is the first one, actually, but watch what happens here as he comes down to the second chicane. The other chicanes are not too bad, but this one at the very end, the Ost curve, this chicane is diabolical. You have to thread the needle exactly.
Yes.
And arguably, I don't think it makes anything safer.
No.
At least I don't think so. See, watch. Boom, boom. And then you have to make sure you don't go over the curb on the outside. It's very easy to end up on the grass on the outside there. So, I don't know. I mean, that chicane has always puzzled me. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, and I think that one of the most complicated things that happen to you here is if you have another car that is very close to you from behind, and you, for whatever reason, don't do it right at that chicane and come out of it with nearly no speed, they can easily eat you from behind.
Yeah, you're a sitting duck, right, Ryan? You know, if you screw up the exit on that.
Yeah, it's one of those corners that you've got to try and get right, just because you've got to try and carry as much speed. But if you get a slow exit or even make a mistake, it can compromise your exit, and so if someone's behind you, they can get a big run on you.
Yeah, KO on our YouTube chat has pointed out that that it's more dangerous with that chicane than if it were just a straight layout, and I think a lot of us would agree with that.
Yeah, well, the only thing is that it wasn't a straight, it was the Ost curve, so it was a parabolica curve, so to speak, where the car was leaning very heavily on the tires, and I think that between the ground effects and the power figures that they were reaching in the turbo era, they felt that, yeah, it was better to stop them somehow a bit in that turn instead of letting them go flat on the ground.
Well, I think regardless of these little idiosyncrasies, I think we're in for a fantastic 44-lap contest today. I'm really looking forward to this, and we're so glad to see everybody on YouTube tuning in. One thing I'd like to point out recently is, I mean, we started our Instagram account just this year, and we weren't prepared for the interest that we would get from that. The likes and the follows have been spiking, especially in the last couple of days. It looks like we're really starting to gain traction in there. So we wanted to thank everybody for not only their support and their interest, but we've actually got some new drivers that have joined us via the Instagram link, believe it or not. So that's helpful as well. We're always looking for new talent. We're always looking for new drivers. We can't always promise that there'll be space, but absolutely, that's what keeps leagues alive and keeps leagues going, is the mining of fresh talent. So definitely, if you have an inkling or an interest of, racing with us, by all means, the first step is to just jump right in.
Yeah, that's for sure.
All right, well, while we have a chance here, let's take a look at the point standings going into today's race. And as we've alluded to in the past, this is a very competitive championship. And here are the drivers' points as they stand right now after 9 rounds of competition. Richard Wilkes is in the lead with 38 points. Anders Nilsson is 7 points back with 31, tied with Juha Boss. And then you have Grant Radal in 4th place with 25 points. And rounding out the top 5 is Dave Miller, today's pole sitter, I understand, with 17 points. The Constructors Championship right now is a little bit closer than it's been in the past. JPS Team Lotus is in 1st with 49 points. Scuderia Ferrari is in 2nd with 47. Marlboro McLaren International is in 3rd with 36 points. Equipe Ligier is in 4th with 30 points. And then Benetton Formula is in 5th with 29 points. Coming up at ISO in the next few weeks. We're approaching our August break rapidly, which will be very welcome for some of us, because I think, frankly, some of us could use some R&R. Right now, but the next race is going to be Sunday, July 4th. We're not going to have a broadcast of this, but there's definitely a lot of interest in terms of there's some new drivers actually that have joined the league just for this particular race. The British Aerospace 1000, not in reality a 1,000 kilometer, it's going to be half that, but that's the race that it's emulating. 1984 DRM round 4 of 6, and that's on Sunday, July 4th. Check the forum schedule for that one. And then On July 11th, we go back F1 racing again in a very different track from this one, gentlemen. This is the Hungaroring, the Hungarian Grand Prix. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the native language there. I don't want to butcher it, but in any case, that's Sunday, July 11th. Green light will be 2000 CEST. I'll be calling the action, hopefully with both of you alongside. But that's going to be a very challenging course for these cars in terms of fuel economy and in terms of just attention span, I'm sure. And then we close out our first semester, as we like to call it, of competition with one more USAC race, the Machinists Union 150. And this one is going to be at Trenton, the Kidney Bean. Green flag for that one is at 2000 CEST. The race thread for that will go up on July 4th. So that's a look at what's coming up in the next few weeks here at ISO. The trivia question. I'm going through all this stuff now while I have a shot. Trivia question for tonight is, which driver holds the F1 race lap record for the old Hockenheim Grand Prix circuit with the final Ost curve chicane, which is the version from 1992 to 2001? Is it A, Nigel Mansell, B, Ayrton Senna, or C, Juan Pablo Montoya? We will have the answer for you later on in the broadcast. Now, as far as information about the race and how things are likely to go, Richard Coxson, as he does for every race, has provided us with some excellent notes. And he says, as always, any compound can do a full race distance. He expects to see super softs or softs on most cars, so we'll pay attention to that. Pit stops, 1, maybe 2. Can you guys think of a reason why someone would do a 2-stop strategy here?
Well, if using very, very soft tires, and I think that the main reason to use very soft tires is, according to what I've heard from Little Al, that some of the cars apparently do not heat up the tires too well. So you might be forced to get super soft tires so that they work well for you, and in that case they degrade too quickly and you need to do 2 stops.
What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. It's although I think someone might try and go with very soft tires and try and maybe just go as quick as possible, maybe try and gain some track position, and then when it comes to making the pit stop, they can just stick another set of very soft tires on and maybe just try and, I don't know, maybe just try and treat it as a sprint race in a way, or go with the sprint race style strategy.
Also, there's always the chance that someone who is a bit like hopeless, that doesn't get the car to work completely well for him as he wanted, simply wants to make something different from all the rest and see if it really pays off.
Right in on board now with the Ligier pair, who are actually in the stadium section together right now. This is a very elegant and symmetrical shot. Yeah, the other thing to be considered is the fuel situation here. Because of the hard acceleration that you have to do all the time, and going right down to a slow crawl and then back up again, fuel is going to be a problem, and there's going to be lots of lift and coast here. In fact, there have been instances in real life where people have run out of fuel at the end of the race. Most notably, I think, was Alain Prost during the race from this particular year, correct?
That's correct. Fuel is going to be an issue here, and also brakes could eventually be a problem unless people open the brake ducts enough. And even so, depending on the pressure that you put on them, because there's for sure some heavy braking points here.
Yep. And you can see there how the precision coming through these chicanes is so critical. Grant got a tire there on the curb, but I guarantee you that cost him a few miles per hour on this run now down to the Ost curve. And we're also going to be going through the changes to cars along the way as the race progresses, as we have cars on the screen. Also, brakes. If you don't cool them enough, there could be issues, but most should be okay, according to Mr. Coxson. Looking at Ligier here, for Germany, the new EF15C engine was available for the Ligier team, and the team removed aerofoils behind the front wheels to reduce the drag. Let's see. Well, actually, they're still there, believe it or not, but anyway, that's the notes that we have. So, but yeah, we'll be going through those notes as we continue throughout the broadcast. So we've got about 9 minutes to go before the race starts. We're going to pause now for our customary commercial break. We will be right back after these important commercial messages. Do not go away.
exist.
Chrysler technology is making Made in America mean something again. With the LeBaron series, turbo power, and a graceful new design. These cars caught the competition sleeping. And Chrysler technology gives turbo New Yorker power and more standard equipment than Buick Electra. Commitments by Chrysler, made good by Chrysler, backed by Chrysler. Because the competition is good, Chrysler had to be better.
Radio Shack understands that a computer purchase is a serious personal and business decision. But what's really important is the company behind the computer. At Radio Shack, when you buy a computer, you buy a company. A company committed to technology, service, and support. We'll be here when you need us. With a telephone hotline, training, education, and excellent service. Tandy Computers, in business, for business. Tandy, clearly superior.
Something good, everyone wants a piece of it. Take light beer from Miller. Now there's lots of light beers out there saying they're less filling. Heck, that was the easy part. The hard part is brewing a light beer that tastes great. That's why Light's always brewed only with the finest ingredients. To let all that great beer taste come through for guys like you and me. The taste that's made light beer from Miller America's favorite light beer.
Hey, I always thought it was easy opening can.
Now, photography enters the computer age with the revolutionary new Canon T70. Computer programmed to give you all the answers with total push-button control. Auto loading, auto wind on, auto wind off. That's the incredible Canon T70. So advanced, it's got to be simple. Canon Formula One cameras.
I'm no car salesman, and you're no dummy. So I have no chance of selling you a Renault in 30 seconds. But I must tell you, I think this Renault is too good a car for you not to consider. Yes, you can do the expected and buy another one of whatever it is you're driving, or you can put yourself in a Renault. Probably not the first car you'd think of, but it just might be the smartest.
When Domino's Pizza delivers, quality comes first. We custom bake each pizza with carefully selected, skillfully prepared ingredients. Taste the quality. One call does it all.
Since the title Gasoline Fuel Economy Champion was first awarded, one manufacturer has dominated the competition, winning a remarkable 8 out of 13 times. Presenting the Honda Civic CRX HF, one of the best in its field, again.
I think after the last round, and judging by form, I would say I would have to say Grant Riddell.
No, it's going to be very competitive because it's a very powerful engine. That's what you really needed here at the Hockenheim. To be honest, what I was expecting was the Benettons to be putting up a better show. But in any case, they are very, very quick now in the warm-up. You can see Gabriele Del Piccolo there is second. There is also David Yates. So my bet for the race, I'm going to say, just going to trust on that. David Jakes.
All right, so you're picking Jakes. Ryan is picking Grant. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to pick Little Al, who is making a guest drive today in the McLaren team. It's going to be difficult for you, Alberto, because you have to be objective. But what do you think Little Al's chances are today in his guest drive?
He has only practiced for the race because we didn't have much time. We were half of the week out of home here because of some short holidays that we have here in Spain. But I know that he absolutely loves the car and the track. So he said he was just going to focus on that and do a good race. He doesn't have the intention or the opportunity to be there fighting for the win, but you never know because we know how these McLarens work. They do very well on fuel consumption. So if he finds himself able to crank up the boost more than the other guys, we could see a surprise indeed.
All right, good. So we got 2.5 minutes to go here. As far as one other thing that occurred to me about this track, and it might have something to do with the reason why a lot of people don't think that it's that notable of a track, is that the only place that you actually see the driver, that you actually see the cars coming through, is in the stadium section. They don't allow you to watch the race from any place other than the stadium section.
Yeah, that's for safety reasons, I guess.
Yeah, but of course now with the Hockenheim ring arranged the way it is, I mean, I suppose from a spectator point of view, it's a better situation because you can see the entire track.
Yeah, that's true. They have also the screens to follow the races and that. But here in this old venue, when the cars went down to into the forest, because they were basically going into the forest, that aerial shot that you posted showing the Hockenheim in the trivia question highlights it very much. I mean, they are racing through a German forest, basically. That's what made it also so dangerous, because couple the high speeds with the little escape area and the trees, the big trees that are all around the track, and you see why you must be careful, because you can get into a very, very big accident easily. But that was also the main reason probably why the people were not allowed to stand out there in the forest, because there was no way to protecting them. They sure have gained from the spectator point of view these last years with the change, although I still prefer the old venue.
Yeah, I would say I prefer the old one as well, but time marches on and things change. All right, so we're coming down to the start of the actual race, about 40 seconds to go. I don't know. I still am going to go with Little Al because he's got the equipment to win today, I think, and I've seen him do fantastic races even with very little practice. One other thing that you'll notice looking at these cars: no tobacco sponsors on the cars. I can hear Yul Brynner in my head saying, "Whatever you do, don't smoke." But it's interesting how different people are dealing with it. McLaren, as we're looking at now, they had the lettering of McLaren in Marlboro font before. This time, they just have like black boxes or rectangles where the lettering would be. You'll notice some other kind of rather cheeky ways of dealing with it. The West Zaxbyte team has put East on their car instead of West, which is a cheeky way of dealing with it. Some people just remove the sponsorship entirely. So, all right, so it looks like we're ready to go over to the race session here. Let's find out where. Once you hear that siren, you're knowing we're going to go to the next session here. There's that sound. All right, 44 laps are on the board. That seems short, but remember that the lap is a very long one here. And there is our pole sitter, Dave Miller, who is placing his car in the grid, and we're going to wait for the others to be there. He jumped on the grid rather quick. There are a lot of guys who like to wait till the very last minute to go on the grid so that their engine doesn't get too hot. But Miller, very anxious to get this race underway. Miller did an excellent job calling the USAC race recently as a color commentator. So once again, we appreciate his efforts where that's concerned. It's a real close-knit community we have here, right, guys?
Yeah, everybody knows each other very well, and that's always very, very good. Very fun when you're racing with the other people. Very nice because you know you can trust them. But also when you're doing the broadcast, it's very special to know each other so well. You're talking about people, sometimes very good friends, sometimes just people that you're used to and you know well here, and there's always that affinity.
And sometimes actual real acquaintances, right? All right, here we go. Off on the reconnaissance sighting lap. On the pole, Dave Miller, Cannon Williams, Honda team. In second, Anders Nilsson, Scuderia Ferrari. In third, Grant Radal, Equipe Ligier. Fourth, Vadim Tasiak, another great qualifying performance for him, Data General Team Tyrrell. Fifth, Richard Coxson, Scuderia Ferrari. Sixth, David Jakes, Benetton Formula. Seventh, Tim Hilla, John Player, Special Team Lotus. Eighth, Richard Wilkes in the other Lotus. Ninth is Gabriel Del Piccolo, Benetton Formula. 10th is Brian Janik in the first of the Brabhams. 11th is Adam Hackman in the other Williams. 12th is David Saber, Data General Team Tyrrell. 13th is Ray Radal, Equipe Ligier. 14th, Bruno Chacon, Marlboro McLaren International. 15th is his teammate for this race, Alberto Aquino, in Alain Prost's McLaren. 16th, John Team in the Team Haas USA entry, the Lola. 17th, Bruno Paggiola, Minardi team. 18th, Cesarius Lipinski in the East Zach Speed Racing entry. 19th is Mike Olson in the other Brabham. 20th, Mikael Drexler in the other Minardi. 21st, Jason Whitehead, Jolly Club AGS. 22nd, Jules Bouchard, Team Haas USA. 23rd is David Yunt, Barkley Arrows BMW. 24th, Seaman Watman in the Osella Squadra course. I tried to say it like Jonathan says it. 25th, Luciano Rocha, the other Zach Speed entry. 26th is Matthew Sibignani. We don't see him too often, but it's nice to have him here driving an Osella. And that is the grid, actually, 26 cars.
David Miller there making all that he can to keep the heat up in the tires. He is visibly nervous with that. I wonder what compound he has. We will be able to tell once he gets stopped in the...
Well, one thing I would... Sorry to interrupt, but one thing I'd point out, the reason we have 26 cars, not 27, is that Francois Remen has he dropped the... So I guess the question is, are we going to restart for him, or are we going to just go ahead?
No. In the briefing it was warned. Richard Coxson has said it. There would be no restarts today.
All right, well, there we go. Bad luck.
Yeah, unfortunate. So we'll have a quick look at the compounds once they get stopped in the starting grid, because, well, about what we were commenting before, 1 or 2 stop strategy, it's going to be important to see what kind of tires do you pick, because I have the feeling that those who can put harder tires and go for only 1 stop, or maybe none, because as you know, Coxson always says that any tire can go the distance, and obviously the harder the better. Those who can make the harder tires work well, they could potentially have an advantage by not having to do any pit stop, or maybe only 1.
One thing I would point out too, as we have the Honda engined Williams approaching the line here, it is benefiting from 957 brake horsepower. The Lotus cars, on the other hand, are 940. The Ferrari engine is 925. So there's a clear horsepower advantage off the line for Dave. So he's going to want to...
So softs for all Porsche hitter, super softs for Anders Nilsson, and in the case of Grant Ridal, that be, let me see, softs also. So that's also the case for Vadim Tasiak, and super soft for Richard Coxson. That's what the top 5 are using, and that seems to indicate that that could be a slight advantage for Miller.
All right, so starters' orders have been given. Stand by for the start of the German Grand Prix here at ISO. Lights upcoming, and the race is underway. It looks like Miller's getting away pretty good as we have a speed shot here coming up. And he does. He gets into the first corner first. Miller leads. Grant Riddall is in second. Nilsson third. But look at we have a Benetton coming up the inside. Here is lots of dust back there, but it appears everybody is okay. Oh, but look at Grant. He's already making a move on Miller. Coming down to the first chicane. He's got the inside line. He's probably going to... Oh, guys, careful, careful. Oh, my goodness. Miller maintains first place in a very daring and defensive move. Wow, that was
very
close.
Much Nigel Mansell, the
that
driver
was
that you
close.
could never intimidate.
No intimidation factor there. Ice water in his veins. Miller leads. Grant Riddall's in second. David Jakes, in fact, is the Benetton that is in third. As everybody is now... Oh, no! Oh, my goodness, no! Miller has impacted the... Oh, this is awful! This is tragic! I can't believe what I'm witnessing! Oh, no! This is incredible! Now, here's the obvious question. Are we going to restart the race? Because this is an incredible accident. We're looking at least...
Yep,
red flag. We're looking at at least a half a dozen DNFs there. It's obviously the call of the admins for this series. I'm just a broadcaster, but holy crap, that was really unfortunate. Oh, unbelievable. Miller out of the race. Hilla, Saber, Tasiak, Yunt. Jakes is now in the lead.
We had mentioned it before when we were talking about the track. In that chicane, if you got it wrong for whatever reason and you got a car that is close to you, you might be in big trouble. And we have seen that already.
All right, so we'll have to wait and see what happens here. Yes, we are going to restart the race. I'm sure that there are many people, especially Mr. Miller, who are breathing a huge sigh of relief right now.
Yeah, that was a crazy incident. It all started with Miller just running wide into the tires, and everyone behind just had no time to react.
Yeah, because in that situation, let me go look at that part of the track once again. I don't believe that there's a situation there where you can take an escape road. If I go to the... Well, it's hard to see from this angle, but it looks like it's blocked off by tires. And if that's the case, well, let's go around again here. Sorry. Yeah, looking at the chicane here, there really isn't much of a choice. If you miss your apex, you can't really go to the left there. You could probably sneak through on the right-hand side, but I'm sure you'd incur a penalty. But then you got I suppose the best thing to do, but by the time you realize something's wrong, you really can't go back to the left anyway. But it's a very, very... I suppose now, in hindsight, I'm not surprised that incident happened. And, of course, chain reaction. A car that clips those barriers and comes to a stop does not simply vaporize and then everybody else just piles into it.
Yeah, it's just that the worst moment it can happen is the first lap when all the cars are close together.
Yeah. Lots of people using emojis on our YouTube chat to describe what just happened. Oh, man. All right, so we are going to wait for things to reset here.
And it looks like in the chat as well, in game, it's Richard just said that whoever caused the pile up or caused the incident will basically get a warning.
Shoot.
So that's not good.
Well, I'm sure that people are going to be a lot more careful on the way down. But man, before we even got to the Ost curve, there was some really, really, that defense that Miller had of Grant. I mean, that was done with authority, but also at a great deal of risk.
And it's a good point that Richard Coxson makes as well, as in the chat, saying that you've got cold brakes on the first lap, so just be prepared to slow down a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I think we all agree some of the shenanigans that were happening at the top were a bit unnecessary. I mean, it was controlled aggressiveness and all you want. They are top drivers and they were fighting for the lead and that, but they were too close. And, well, we mentioned already when talking about the track, this is the third time I mention it. In that chicane, if anything goes wrong and you have a car close by, it's too easy to cause a pile-up like this one.
Yep, no question. All right, so we're going to wait and see if we can get everybody back in the server here. It's going to take a bit. Let's see. I'm looking through everything we've got here, and there's very little else to talk about. We can talk about changes to cars. One thing, like the Williams team obviously being on the pole, but what if anything has got changed here? Well, it says here in my notes that for Germany, the team got a revised rear wing that has 3 small tubes to improve airflow to lower surface. So I guess, and that seems to be a common theme here looking through these, is people are making changes to the cars to reduce drag, obviously for the type of circuit that we're on. Not something that you would necessarily carry over to the Hungaroring next time. So, goodness.
Well, it's a shame for some and a relief for others. In the case of David Jacks, he had done a blistering start, and he was, I think, up to 4th position or something like that, but well.
He was, yeah. All right, so at some point here, we're going to have everybody back on. But one thing I would like to say, and I'm not going to give it away, but I want everyone to understand. We alluded to it in the last podcast that we've done. We have a very special podcast coming up. And I am over the moon about what is going to transpire. I won't say any more than that. So keep your eyes peeled and your ears open for another podcast coming up soon with what we are hoping will be an incredible guest. That is all I will say about that. So we've got our August break coming up. Do you guys have any plans to kick back and just take it easy for a bit?
Vacation plans. You know where I will be going? You've been there
yes.
too?
Yes. Alberto's beautiful summer home in Alcoy. Gorgeous. What about you, Ryan?
Well, I'm Scottish and I've got to keep up with the tradition, so I'll be in the bar.
Well,
that's a good alternative too.
I appreciate your candor, and there will probably be some of that going on with me too. But I really am glad that we planned that August break into our schedule every year. Something we kind of learned and picked up when we were working in the other league. But it's really vital because there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, not just to prepare for this stuff, but also for next year. We're working very hard on mods for next year's racing, which we think everyone's going to really enjoy. And a lot of feverish work has been going on in that, and it does help to step away for a bit. You gain some perspective, and you see things that you might have missed had you just kept plowing through. All right, so now we're going to try this again. Hopefully, it'll work this time. And we've already done the grid once, so we'll just follow them around this time. In terms of Ferrari in this race, Ferrari for Germany, the wheelbase was reduced, and the weight was moved more towards the rear, so they were making ballast changes there. But the underbody was shortened. And then in the case of the Lotus team, no major changes, interesting, except for removing vertical aero deflectors behind the front wheels for less drag. So that seemed, again, that is a pretty common theme, it appears.
Yeah, I guess that Colin Chapman went 2 or 3 times again over the whole car, seeing what screw he could.
Well, Colin wasn't around at this point.
Take out.
Unfortunately, Colin was only with them. Colin was only with it. You mean Peter War?
Yeah.
Colin was only with them in spirit. Okay, here we go again on the parade lap. You know, the interesting part about that is, was Francois able to get back in?
Let me see. Let's go through the grid.
Yeah, he got back in.
Oh, that's great. Well, okay, there's somebody who's who's not.
Cars, yeah, at least that was because it's our chance to see the new A9 in action.
Yes, this is the new A9 Arrows. This is a brand new car. So this is a good chance for us to have a look at it. Arrows, this is the first appearance for the A9, and actually Remen is the only guy who gets to use it in this race. An unusual trait is that the gearbox was mounted in front of the differential to give it a bit more of a compact packaging and a stiffer rear end. In reality, it did not work. Oh well. But Francois is going to get to test out the new car, and he's probably going to be sending a fruit basket to Miller for crashing on lap 1 of the first start.
Yeah, the history of this A9 is quite sad because they had all the hopes on this car. It was the car for this season because the A8 was actually the previous season model. But when they could start finally racing it, they discovered that it was basically flexing like a banana. It was absolutely horrible.
Well,
so it had great instability.
That's definitely one thing you do not want in an open wheel monocoque car is a flexing chassis. That's the worst possible thing you could have. It's about as desirable as a glass of warm beer on a hot day.
Yep.
All right, so Remen definitely counting his blessings right now. Very glad to be back in this. So we now have a full 27-car grid. Coming back to the scene of the crime now.
There they are.
Yep.
I'm sure everybody's looking from the corner of its eye to those barrels there as when they went by.
Even at low speed, you kind of are like, coming through here.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing that you sometimes find when they are doing some kind of maintenance work in the highway. And you are very careful around this thing, and you go through there in slow speed, and it's always like not really comfortable. So go figure what it will be to do it at high speed with these cars, trying to squeeze the best lap time. I can imagine it's a real nightmare to keep the concentration doing that lap after lap.
All right, so here they come up to the stadium section now. I can imagine that at certain points during the race, the cheering of the crowd just oversteps the engine sound a little bit.
Yeah, maybe in this section because it's so much more enclosed.
Yeah, and the turbo cars tend to be a little quieter as well than the normally aspirated cars.
And they are going slower here.
Yes.
So if there's one place you would be hearing the cheering of the crowd, that's here, that's for sure.
All right, so here we go. Coming up now to the grid one more time. And hopefully, we hope that things will go better this time. Miller getting his tires hot. Stopping there. If this were the real situation, we'd have a lot of backup cars in the grid here. All right, so we'll go back to this camera view again for the start. Cars filing around the stadium section. We just got a couple more to go here. Ocella's dropping into the back. Look for the name to flicker, and that will mean we're ready to go. And starter's orders are given. Let's try this again. Stand by. And the race is underway once again, as if the first one never happened. Miller, look at the advantage he got coming into the corner that time. He's way out in front this time. Miller leads. Nilsson is in second. Grant has dropped to third now. It appears everybody's getting through the first turn without any trouble. That's good to see. Miller, God, he's got a huge advantage already. Coming down to the first chicane. In second is Grant now. He's overtaken Nilsson, and Jakes is trying to go up the inside, but does not have the room. Coxson is in fifth. Vadim Tasiak is in sixth. Miller is up to seventh. Oh, Tim Hilla almost had a collision there. And now here we come. Down to the chicane. Let's see what happens.
Well, Miller got through it.
Miller got through. Yeah, let's see.
Everybody really careful now.
Yeah, no one wants to repeat that. Well, yeah, see, everybody's taking a very wide line. Ooh, Drexler locking up. He didn't leave himself enough room there, but everyone makes it through. Nothing goes wrong. Fantastic. Miller coming through the next chicane now, but that's fantastic. He got such a good jump on Grant and Nilsson. And the cars are even starting to spread out a little bit now, believe it or not. Sabre is fighting with Wilkes. My goodness, very, very close battle here for a 7th place. These guys better watch out.
Yeah, David is actually sandwiched between the two Lotus. Team Hiller now quite anxious to not lose the train of the cars in front, followed by the other Benetton from Gabriele Del Piccolo, and then Brian Janik.
Yeah, Hill is definitely looking to size up Sabre here at some point. Through the first turn once again. That's 1 lap down. 43 to go. Miller in first. Grant Riddall is in second. Nilsson is in third. Jake's fourth. Coxson fifth. Vadim Tasiak is sixth. Richard Wilkes 7th, Sabre 8th, Hill at 9th, and Del Piccolo is in 10th. And it appears that we have a car dropping down the list rather rapidly. It is Bruno Chacon. Oh no, he's not actually in trouble. He just got overhauled by a few people there, but it does not appear that he's out of the race. He was dropping.
There were the two Haas drivers who were playing with the slipstream, and they were able to overtake him nearly at once.
Hilla trying to overtake Sabre, but it looks like Sabre's got the upper hand as they come down to the Ostkurve chicane.
Whoops, Coxson in the grass.
Oh no, it's true. Coxson there in the grass.
Fortunately, he found the escape road and seems to be able to join again.
Yeah, there's a little escape road there. So thankfully he's able to get back into the race. That drops him to 11th place. But yeah, you can see people are going to be very desperate to hang on to the slipstream here, because if you lose it, if you lose touch with the car in front of you, you're in big trouble, because you'll just go backwards, or they'll just streak away. Nilsson here is right with Jakes now, seeing if he can... it'll be interesting to see how cars perform in the stadium section versus the rest. If they're sliding around in the stadium excessively, you know that the car is really trimmed out. They are helped a little bit by the banking through this section, right?
Yes, there is some banking, and that for sure helps them. But Miller is leaving nothing on the table this time.
Well,
he doesn't want to have any of the nonsense with Brandes before, and he is opening a gap already.
Well, we talked about the horsepower advantage he has. Ryan, what other advantages do you think that Williams is going to have over the other cars up there, the Ferrari and the Benetton and the Ligier?
I think maybe straight line speed is one of them, but I think just watching Miller's car at the moment, I think his car seems to be really stable in the corners as well, especially on corner exit. He can get on the power when he wants to. So I think that traction on corner exit is definitely another factor as well. So it looks like Miller's basically his car's hooked up at the moment.
Yeah, I'd say it definitely. He's got a really, really well balanced car. I mean, he had a great start, first of all, the second start, but apart from that, the package that he's got, that he's working with right now, is just really, really good. Cars streaming through the Ostkurve chicane. It's hilarious now to see how careful everyone's being.
There's a big duel though between Team and Bouchard. Both teammates, the Haas seem to be very well matched this time, and they are slipstreaming there in a big fight among them, and with Brian Riddle, who is in front.
Yeah, look at this inter-team battle here, and look at that. Jules Bouchard goes up the inside and looks like he'll take his teammate. He does. His next target is Ray Riddle, who's in front of him. 13th place is that next target, so Jules is up to 14th. But you can see how effective a slipstream can be on a track like this. You can just rocket by if you have the correct boost selected and if you've got the momentum lined up correctly. But he definitely seems to be on the move, Jules, in that number 15 Team Haas Lola.
So is Wilkes now trying to overtake Vadim Tasiak? Thinks better of it, but is putting some pressure on him. Here he comes. Nope.
Oh, coming down the straight here, definitely looks like he's going to make an attempt at the end where the chicane is. Wilkes on the inside, Vadim giving him the room that he should. Is it going to be a late braking situation? No, he decides better and decides not to do it. Vadim maintains 5th place.
Yeah, they are catching up actually with Anders Nilsson there. So, but look at that! Look at the traction that this Lotus has.
Oh
coming out
God,
of
yeah!
the
Look at
end.
that. He just overhauled him right there, just based on how he was able to get into the power quicker. Wow.
Probably also with the help of Boost.
Yeah, I would think so. But Vadim's got to watch it there. He came very close to the grass, and we know from previous races how slippery the grass can be for these cars.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, things are pretty static at the front at this point. Things have spread out. Looks like the bulk of the action is actually further back in the pack.
It is, yes. There is also Little Al trying to overtake Bruno Pacciola for 20th position, so not a good race so far for him.
Yeah, but it's early.
It's early, yes.
Yeah, Saber looked like he had a shot there at Del Piccolo for a second, but then backed off.
Good to
Another thing
see.
I'm
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. The other thing I'm noticing watching the cars in the straights is they move around a lot. Are you guys seeing that? Like
yeah,
at speed.
They wander a bit. That's an effect of the tires and the tight aerodynamics in the cars. They are very, very stiff here to be able to comply with the track and the big fuel load, and still have the low wings and be stable, and that makes them very twitchy. So when they are wandering over the bumps in the straights, you can clearly see that.
Another thing that would make them twitchy, I would think, and Ryan, maybe you can tell me if I'm way off base here, is how much camber you've put in the tires.
Yeah, definitely. The camber's another thing that could make the car move
Oh!
around it. Oh,
Look at that. Ray didn't expect for Adam to check up as much as he did, but he's taking advantage of it now. He's right alongside him now. Look at that. And it looks like Hackman might be able to hold on to the position. We'll see. Yes. He shuts off a little later than Ray, and he's able to hang on to it. Nice job for my
We've got many three-way
Penske
fights
teamie
going on here.
Whoa!
Because there's this one, and there's also Coxson with Brian Janik and with David Sabre. They are fighting also there.
Oh my goodness! Ray missed a shift, and he just lost another position there. That shows you how it doesn't take much for another car to get by you in these situations.
It's interesting that the cars seem to be grouped in three. Nilsson, Wilkes, and Vadim Tasiak. They are having their own scrape there. Then you got Richard Wilkes, Anders Nilsson, and Vadim again. Wait a moment. That's okay. Yes, Nilsson, Wilkes, and Tasiak. And then you got Sabre. That's the second tier rail. Sabre, Janik, and Coxson. Also on a three-way battle on their own. Then you got Hackman, Team, and Riddle. It's interesting how it's always three of them fighting it out.
Yeah, it's like trios going on here. But yeah, look at this. Coxson has an excellent. Janik.
Sorry.
No, you're right. Janik's going by into 9th place now. Just overtook Sabre. You're watching Wilkes, right?
Wait a moment. What's up with Anders Nilsson? He has disappeared from my screen and is losing positions now.
Oh, please don't tell me that that's a disco.
John Tim also did not finish right now.
Nilsson
Anders
is.
Nilsson is losing positions. Yeah, it seems to be a disco.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's terrible.
Whoops! David Sabre. He basically went sideways in the chicane. Coxon, who was right behind him, hit him, and Janik escaped miraculously.
Desperately trying to find Sabre here. Let's take a look at a replay. Oh goodness. I believe I'm having issues with my replay at this point, so we're gonna have to be really on the ball here with how we call things. But it doesn't look like Sabre has any issues with his car.
No, he got a hit on the side.
Oh.
The side pod of the car, and Coxon hit him there, but fortunately it seems to have been quite light, because Coxon doesn't seem to have a damaged car. He still got his front wing. He's fending off Bouchard now, who is on fire in this race. Look at that.
Yeah, look, he just goes streaking by. Janik goes by Coxon as well. My goodness, this is a really fierce fight right now.
All of them heading into the stadium section. Janik looking for a way past. No, Anders Nilsson is back on my screen. He's in 6th position now. So
Well, you know,
it must have been not a disco, but then some kind of weird thing in the game.
All right, so I want everybody on YouTube, not to go away from the broadcast, but you should be now looking up the Depeche Mode single from 1979, No Disco. That's all I can think of right now. Well, that's good news. Maybe it was some off-track excursion that happened, and we just didn't catch it.
Yeah, it could be, I don't know, maybe something where the game got suddenly a bit confused about where to score him.
Yeah.
But he's now safely there in 7th position, pursued by Tim Hille and Gabriele Del Piccolo.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if it was maybe a screen freeze as well, because I know that can happen sometimes where you get a screen freeze and it messes around with the game a little bit, or the game standings at least.
Miller is already overtaking cars that are at the back of the order. He's overtaken one of the Ocellas. That seems rather quick to be overtaking them on a track that this long, but that's Simon Watman. And Grant Riddall overtakes him as well. We also have David Jakes making his way past Matthew Sibignani. Wilkes is in 4th. Vadim is 5th. Yeah, the cars are spreading out a little more. It looks like Del Piccolo might have a shot here at 7th place. If he can catch Hille in the stadium here, maybe. But, yeah, cars are spreading out a little bit now.
And Francois Remen has retired from the race.
Well, at least he got a shot at racing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the battles have broken off for the moment. But
except between Yannick and Coxson. The heat is on between them both.
Yes, there they are. Yep, you're right. The heat is definitely on. Glenn Frey into the first turn.
It's amazing how Bouchard is racing today. He has been steadily climbing through the whole field. And now look at that. He opened the gap even with Brian Janik and Richard Coxon. So he really is on fire today.
With regard to the Brabham for Germany, the rear edge of the side pods, previously curving down, are leveled now to increase the exit by 4 centimeters and improve the airflow. So that's a little cosmetic change you can look for in the car. The cars also ran with no winglets on the side pods. You've noticed those before, and that gives better straight line performance.
Yep. The winglets are out in this situation.
Yep, they have been removed.
People don't remember them from the previous races.
They were definitely prominent in the previous races. Look at that. Coxon's closed very much. Yeah, Sibignani gets out of the way, almost crashes, trying to be courteous there.
Yeah, it's sometimes when you are there in the middle of the curve and a car is approaching very fast, you don't really know what to do, whether to go left or to go right, and you need to make room somehow. So it's always a hard choice for you and for the car that comes from behind.
Yeah, I've in many instances driving, I have tried to be courteous and crashed. By getting into the gray. And not just in situations where I'm turning left all the time, also on road courses. So, now we got a veritable karaoke crew going on in the YouTube chat. Thanks to my mentioning of a song. Oh well, look at all this traffic here. This might play into. Look at Coxson. I think he has a decent shot here simply because of the awkward nature of arriving at that Osella. No, we can't make it happen here. But, yeah, the Brabham's a car that you would think would really do well here because it's designed for speed.
It is. You can see in the straights he has nothing to...
The very low profile of the car as Coxson looks like he's going to take a shot here. Yes, he's coming up the inside. Is he going to make it stick? It looks like he will. Yes. Coxson goes up to 10th place, and his next target is a Team Haas entry in the hands of Jules Bouchard. That was a very clean textbook pass there, gentlemen.
It was, yes.
But Brian's
that was a great pass. It was a nice move by Richard.
But Brian's not giving up here. He's still right with him, and he could probably attack back. And you can see, too, that was a very graphic demonstration of how traffic can play into stuff here unwittingly. Oh no! Coxson has run onto the runoff area, and he is stopping like he is supposed to do and keep going. But, man, that is 2 missteps causing him an issue. Oh, my goodness. He just grazed the tires there. That was just a bit too close for my taste. But back down to 11th place now. So that's 2 runoffs. Oh, no! David Saber's out of the race.
And Bouchard coming out to Team Hille. Amazing what Bouchard is doing today.
Yeah.
But he's already on Team Hille's toes.
Bouchard is just absolutely on fire today. The Canadian has definitely been doing his homework with these cars. Look at him, fishtail coming out of there, imitating a Canadian driver that we all idolize, Gilles Villeneuve, a little bit. But of course, a great deal of the reason why you'll see cars.
Gabriel Del Piccolo also eyeing now, overtaking Anders Nilsson. Will he make it? Will he make it? They are side by side nearly.
Yes,
no.
Gabriel, he's going up the inside again now. Looks like he's going to get him here.
Very late breaker, very good.
Extremely late, and that's what Del Piccolo does often. Nilsson is now going to try to counterattack before the chicane, which is obviously very dangerous. He's got a good.
This is the hot place here in this.
Yeah, you got to be careful here. I don't know. I would wait for another opportunity if I were them. Yeah, they do. So, but look at Nilsson got an excellent exit there. It's all about placing your car. An overtake on this track starts the corner before.
Yep. Like a short track in oval racing, like the 1 mile tracks. And look at that. Nilsson is now benefiting from the slipstream, but it doesn't seem to be enough to be able to overtake Gabriele.
Yeah. And I understand why people would go with soft tires here, just because of the nature of the track. But also, that doesn't give you a get out of jail free card in terms of taking care of the tires, though. If you hard brake,
Tim Hille, watch out! Tim Hille has crashed.
No, he has. He's lost his front wing.
Without the front wing, yes.
He's doing an imitation of a 1982 Lotus now. Man. Well, he's going to have to come in and get that. Oh, man, look at the understeers right off the track. That's how much he needs that. Don't hit the barrier, Tim. Oh, man. All right, well, it looks like he's going to make it around here. But goodness gracious. Driving Johnny Dumfries' Lotus. Yes, he is safely into the pits. Good. Nilsson is now trying to claw his way back through the field, and he's right with Jules Bouchard. This ought to be a good matchup.
I was just looking at it. I'm not sure if Bouchard has actually just taken that position from Anders.
Well, he may have, because we were busy looking at... here's another rather awkward situation with Brabham.
And I don't really know what's today in those Haas cars, but it's amazing how Bouchard is flying. I don't know if he has cranked up the boost and says, I'm not going to finish the race, but I'm going to have a hell of a time. But whatever it is, I mean, he's absolutely flying.
Well, there's no updates to the Haas cars in my list here from Richard, so I don't think there's anything that's really different as far as the horsepower figures are concerned. The Haas has 858 horsepower, so it's certainly not one of the faster cars, or it certainly doesn't have as big of a punch as some other cars. Look at this, Bouchard now right with Del Piccolo. And there's the awkward placement of Drexler. This is his golden opportunity if he can make it work, because Del Piccolo's bottled up.
No. Little is, I think, out of the race.
Oh.
He was overtaking Matthew Sivagnoni, but Sivagnoni crossed the car in front of him by touching the grass. Yeah, he's out of the race.
Well, that's unfortunate. Yeah, but look at this. There was a chance there. Look at Jules. He's pulling on Del Piccolo. Like I agree with you, Alberto. I'm really amazed at the pace of Jules Bouchard right now. It's just really unexpected. coming into, and it's not a dig at him, it's just the car versus the other ones that he's racing with, it's a bit of a surprise. I mean, that BMW engine there and that Benetton will generate 884. Well, okay, 884, and then the Haas is, okay, in this case, it's not that big of a difference, 858 versus 884, so it's a 30 horsepower difference there, but what do you think's accounting for all this speed? Has he just trimmed the thing out as much as he can?
Well, that's for sure. He's running with a very minimum wings, but I don't know. Maybe he's for whatever reason with his driving able to go up in the boost and still conserve the fuel.
Well, we haven't seen any instances with I mean, these cars generally run in the teens or like the top 10 in general, but we haven't seen many instances to really give us an idea of the fuel usage of this car. But look at this. Here's Nilsson ready to attack. It appears that Jules not getting the cleanest exits here from... So we'll see if Nilsson can counterattack here. Oh my goodness! Bouchard, okay, that's interesting. So Bouchard goes to the pits. That would seem to indicate, well, it definitely indicates he's on a two-stop strategy. Interesting. And that would account for the extra speed, so...
Yeah, very soft tires then. So here he is. And it's, no, but it's soft. Don't you think that it's something especially hot or well, that gives him an advantage?
Well, I mean,
but
that's the only thing I can think of.
He's obviously going for 2 pit stops.
There he goes, and he's in 10th place right now. So he didn't lose a lot in terms of track position, but he's really going to have to perform at a high level. It looks like he's having gear selection issues. What's going? Oh no! What's going on? He's pulling off. Did the engine let go?
No, I can't see any smoke.
There's no smoke. Oh,
Coxson
he's out of
is in the pits meanwhile.
All right, so there's someone who's yeah, we got Simeoni in the pits with repairs, and there's Coxson who stopped, so he is doing a two-stop strategy, clearly. He probably also figures at this point it's the best thing to do because he's been having trouble, you know.
But he has been able to do the repairs and is now in 14th position.
Oh, man. That's too bad because Bouchard really, I mean, he was just carving his way through the field. All right, so just to make sure everyone knows, a lot of action going on towards the back, but Miller is in the lead, Grant is in second, and the gap there is 7.5 seconds. Then David Jakes is in third, followed by Richard Wilkes and Vadim Tasiak. 6th is Del Piccolo, 7th is Nilsson, 8th is Brian Janik, 9th is Ray Radal, and 10th is Bruno Chacon. Another situation where Bruno is slowly working his way up the field. I would not be at all surprised if we see another top 5 finish from him by the end of the day. Wouldn't surprise me in the least.
So Bouchard is definitely out.
Yeah, he is. That's really too bad.
Yeah, just checking Bouchard's retirement as well. It says it's fuel, so I don't know if he maybe had when he's done his pit stop, if it's maybe taken the fuel out by accident. Because there has been a bug like that before.
That is a possibility. Another possibility is that he had his qualifying setup selected by accident. Because that's happened before. But yeah, if you don't have your PLR file set properly, if you come in, they will actually drain the fuel out, as ridiculous as that sounds. Cesarius Lipinski here, soldiering on in 12th place, who was the victim of a very unfortunate DNF in the Schaefer 500. But if he plays his cards right here, he might be able to get some points through attrition. We'll see. That's the other thing, is it's going to be interesting to see how many engines blow up by the end of today.
Wilkes is now being hunted by Vadim Tasiak, who seems to have up his speed.
Yep. Yeah, it's difficult to tell if there's any closure here. I can see a little bit of it. You have to look super close.
Miller is really doing his own race.
Oh, Watman has missed the chicane and is going through. I suppose they won't mind because it makes it easier to lap the Osella.
Yeah, that seems the case. Coxson is still in the pits with the repairs. That car must have been really crippled.
It has to have been, I guess. But man, that's basically doing in his race. That's too bad.
Lots of incidents in this race, but that's what you can expect from the Hockenheim. That's also what happened in real life. I remember the BMW M1 Pro car race here that took place in 1979, and once the cars were coming out of the stadium, one of the cars got sideways completely in the middle of the straight, and it took like half the field out.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah,
That's not good.
Hockenheim is always prone to these things.
Yeah, definitely appears to be. So now Miller just put a lap on Tim Hilla. So there are only 12 cars on the lead lap right now. The next target for Dave Miller, who is on lap 16, is Cezarius Slipinski.
So, and Vadim Tasiak seems to be coming close to Richard Wilkes, but Wilkes is himself coming close to David Yates.
Yeah, these cars are telescoping here, so it'll be interesting to see if a three-car battle develops again.
But it's amazing the dominating situation that Miller has today.
Yeah, he's definitely done his homework. The car is in good trim, and the only blemish so far has been that first start, which in the eyes of the books did not happen, because we just restart the race. Oh, Look at this. Vadim closes right up on Wilkes.
Well, that's something more visual than real, because the chicane, I mean, the distance is the same. The difference in time is the same, even if the distance isn't. But that's the effect that you get due to the speed differential.
Yeah, the accordion effect.
Yeah.
It appears that you're gaining, but you really aren't. And it appears that you might be losing, but you really aren't. But Vadim definitely lost out a bit there, because he had a bit of a bobble, and that's going to cost him a mile an hour or two on the straight here.
I remember Carroll Smith, the engineer, who wrote some very good and funny books.
Yes.
He said, if I got $1 every time that people had said me, the problem is that I'm eating here in the braking and he's leaving me behind in the straights, he would be millionaire by now.
Yeah. True.
It's true that sometimes that is happening. I mean, you got cars that are set up very differently, and then you get one of them to be very quick in the straights, and the other is really catching him up in the twisty sections. But yeah, the accordion effect is something normal when we are racing. And this is exactly a situation you do not want in the case of Vadim Tasiak, and that's to find a lap car in the stadium section. That has given Will some relief.
It has, but at least he was able to get around it with relative ease. That wasn't too bad.
Although I must say that it also helped Del Piccolo before, because he has been able to open a bit of a gap now with Wilkes. Closer than those are Brian Janik and Anders Nilsson. As Brian is eyeing already an overtake. There he goes.
Oh, look at that! Up the inside, but no!
That was seeming too easy.
No, Nilsson braked a little bit later and kept the position. So this is a hot battle right here. Yeah, for me, the most dangerous part, it's twofold with that chicane, guys. You go in, you obviously don't want to hit the barriers, but then on the way out, what?
Jason Whited, no, missing the chicane. Actually, he was, I don't know if he was making room for the other cars that were overtaking him, or if he was just missing it.
Oh, Janik runs a bit on the inside there, loses a little bit of time there, but with that chicane too, I mean, it's a twofold risk there. First of all, you don't want to hit the barriers, obviously. But then as you're coming through there, if you're not careful, and I think it might have something to do with just focusing all your attention on threading that needle, if you're not careful, you can run off to the left right into the grass. We saw Coxson do it, and a lot of people have ended up doing that over the years.
The other thing that poses a problem is if you've got a car in front of you, first of all, you don't have a clear view of the chicane. And second, you tend to somehow imitate what the car in front is doing. So, but you're doing it obviously like half a second later. So you need to really time it well.
No, you're absolutely right. I've been in situations as Whitehead gets out of the way. Goodness, be careful there. Oh, and here comes Janik now has got a good shot here.
That must have been cranking up the boost. I'm pretty sure of that because the speed differential was incredible.
Oh my goodness! Look at that.
Probably he removed a bit of the boost there, and immediately the car got stopped.
Good grief!
I was lucky that both of them never had any contact or had any major damage or had an incident basically.
Yeah,
that was so close.
Yeah, the collision models in this mod are a little bit on the forgiving side, probably for that very reason. All right, Janik got a really good exit from the Ost curve there. He might have a shot in the next two corners. This is for 6th place. Look at him, there he goes. Looks up the inside, and he's got it before they go to the second chicane here.
Yeah, it was clear that the... Whoops, careful there. That the Brabham had more speed than the Ferrari in the straights. So it was basically a matter of time until he was able to overtake.
And look at that, he streaks away immediately. So now Nilsson is going to have to deal with Del Piccolo, probably.
Yeah, another BMW engine.
Yeah, exactly. So the Beamers are doing good today.
They are at the home track.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they'll be happy with that. Oh no! Tasiak out of the race! He has hit the barrier. Well, okay, hang on. Maybe we're being a bit premature. His car hit the barrier. It's still running, but he's lost his front wing. So at minimum, he has to come in the pits.
Well, that happened actually at the pit entry. So probably
it was
the
pit
accident
entry.
Was there trying to get in the pit. I'm looking at the replay now.
Yeah, it was pit entry. It was pit entry.
No. And
No?
I think what happened was that maybe he had missed the pit entry. He wanted to pit. I don't know. Well, he got sideways, and yeah, he impacted sideways, and then he lost the front wing.
Well, now the problem's compounded because he can't find his pit box. Oh my goodness, this has just gone from bad to worse for Vadim. Unbelievable. Janik is up to 5th now with that incident. So, and then Nilsson is 6th and Del Piccolo 7th. So they benefit from Vadim's misfortune. Vadim's still trying to locate his pit box. I don't get what's going on here. Unbelievable. And all the while he's doing this, his engine's overheating. This is not a good situation at all. I'm kind of, guys, can you help me out here? I'm scratching my head. I don't know what's happening
I think what's happening is he has overshot the pit box badly, and now if he's trying to reverse in the pits, the game is telling him that he gets a warning and that he can get black flagged.
I think I know what's happening here. My theory would be that...
Look at that, he's going out of the pits. He needs to go around.
He might have missed the timing beacon when he entered the pits the first time.
You cannot miss it. You cannot miss the timing beacon. No, because it's there in the barrier between the
Oh, man! Very scary situation here as he's got cars overhauling him on the straight. He's just doing his best.
I'm pretty sure that what's going on is that he overshot it badly, the pit spot, and he cannot reverse because the game will then disqualify him. So he was trying to reverse slowly, bit by bit, but probably so that it was not possible.
Well, in reality, reversing in the pit lane will get you DQ'd straight away. Well, sometimes later on, like we all are familiar with the race that Mansell had where he reversed in the pit lane at Portugal, I believe, and got DQ'd after the race. But,
well, in this case, in the case of Vadim, he needs to do the whole lap again over so that he can enter the pits but not overshoot it this time.
It's incredible, and insanely frustrating, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. Yeah, more close quarters lapping going on with Grant overtaking, I believe that was Sibignani. Or the gap has increased incredibly between Jakes and Miller. It's 26 seconds. So Miller is in a class all by himself today, as we are approaching the halfway point of the race now.
The only one that none of us picked as favorite, and we should because he was sitting in the pole.
Oops.
Well, let's not talk too much about Miller.
It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. You're all wrong.
Whoa, Vadim now in the grass there, trying to make room. That's complicated.
Yeah, yellow flag. Oh, no. We have another incident here. It's Matthew Sibignani is backwards in the stadium section. I don't know what's going on there, but
he probably glanced at grass while trying to let someone by. So Vadim gets now back to the pits, and this time he needs not to overshoot the pit box. But he's going so quick. Why is he going so quick?
I don't know. Now he's in the pit box successfully, thankfully.
Yes. So it seems that he was trying to reverse before, because I think he was certainly
meanwhile
than he is.
Here's a battle that we don't see too often. Paggiola looks like he's got a shot here to overtake Jason Whited. So let's give Bruno doesn't end up on the broadcast too often. Let's give him some TV love. But look at that. See how much Whited is streaking away. Oh, he's got an opportunity here. There's an Osella moving in front of them here. So if there's an awkward moment here, it could be a chance for Bruno to pounce.
Yeah, he's having a good run with that Minardi, considering it's not the best or quickest car. So it's good to see him having a decent run.
Yeah. And here Whitehead is getting bottled up behind Sibignani.
Del Piccolo is now catching up with Nilsson. And I think Nilsson is going to very soon see that fifth position in danger.
I would think so, yes. Del Piccolo very fast in a straight line.
Brian Janik up to fourth, thanks to the misfortunes of Vadim.
That's right.
Impressive, very impressive.
Yeah, Janik is on a flyer today, doing an excellent job. Good to see Detroit being represented so well.
Jakes is in the pits, by the way.
Okay, well there you go.
Now. Okay, that's also why he was in fourth position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Jakes had pitted, so there you go.
No,
Jakes...
Brian is now third, sorry.
Yeah,
third
no.
Those Jakes pits, yes. So that was correct.
And look at this, Del Piccolo making a move now on Nilsson.
Simon Watman spinning there in one of the chicanes.
God, this is too much action.
He gets out of the way, fortunately, quick enough.
Oh, yeah, there he is. Yeah, he's beached
because
on the...
other cars are coming.
Yeah, he's beached there on the chicane. He's just waiting for the right opportunity to get back going again. Okay, fine.
Good move there.
Yeah, smart move.
So, Adam Hackman now also signaling pits.
Okay. Yeah, Hackman is up to 9th now, but that's largely because of lots of attrition that's been going on. But I don't know. Hackman, who hasn't had the greatest of seasons so far in F1, he's been having a great season in USAC. But we'll see what happens if he's able to claw his way up through here and get a points-paying position by the end here, driving Nelson Piquet's Williams. That's a pairing of teammates that was not the friendliest of all time. Piquet and Mansell.
Certainly not.
No, lots of acrimony, lots of not so nice things said. Sometimes very personal. But Hackman comes in now. What kind of tires is he on?
He is on, well, a mix. He has, no, not a mix, sorry. No, the big compound, which is the mediums.
All right, away he goes. testament, too, to how spread out the cars are. He was 9th, and he's exiting in 10th here. So, although here comes Schlapinski. Yeah, probably going to take that position.
He does.
Yeah, he does. That was a pretty close quarters situation there. Nilsson in the pits.
Same tires for him, the D compound, which is the softs.
And Del Piccolo exits the pits too. So a bunch of people coming through the pits now. So it appears most are on.
So Del Piccolo has overtaken Nilsson in the pits.
Wow. So there's that variable of sometimes it takes longer. But yeah, Wilkes is 5th now. Jakes is 4th. Janik is up to 3rd, hasn't stopped yet, and he is right.
Interestingly now, fastest lap by Vadim Tafiak.
Huh. No way.
So at least the car doesn't seem to be damaged.
No, the car's not damaged, but he's 1 lap down in 14th place. So.
Yep. I don't think that Miller has stopped yet.
He is not.
And, well, he goes for 1 more lap, but this would be a good time because it's exactly half the race.
Well, no, I think he did stop because Miller is only 6 seconds behind Grant. Before, the gap was 26 seconds to the next person, so apparently he did.
You're right. He stopped 2 laps ago in lap 22. I was just looking at the lap times, but he did a blistering lap coming out. 1.48, which is the quickest he had done so far.
I thought we weren't supposed to be talking about Miller. Well, when it's your day, it's your day, and it certainly appears. I mean, I think Miller burned all his good luck in the first start, so he's got to be careful this time, but he's certainly going for it. All right, trivia question now. Would that be a good thing to do?
Why not?
All right. So the trivia question is... Hang on 1 second. All right, so trivia question was, which driver holds the F1 race lap record for the old Hockenheim Grand Prix circuit with the final Ost Curve chicane, which is from 1992 to 2001? Is it A, Nigel Mansell, is it B, Ayrton Senna, or is it C, Juan Pablo Montoya?
Oops, Luciano Rocha has crashed.
That's not one of the answers.
Well, okay, my answer is Montoya.
All right, time is up. What about you, Ryan?
I've been thinking about it, but I have to go with Alberto and say Juan Pablo Montoya.
You guys are correct. It is Juan Pablo Montoya.
Yay!
Yeah, I suspected it because it was a much more modern car, so...
Yeah. All right, back to the race.
So, Luciano Rocha has driven into the garage and is out of the race. And so is some laps ago, Michael Drexler.
Oh, man. Well, it hasn't been the greatest of races for the Osella team, that's for sure. They seem to be constantly either being lapped or ruining their own race lap, trying to get out of the way. It should be said, too, that this track, for all its high speed, is pretty narrow. When you get down to it, it's shockingly narrow.
It is, yes.
Yeah. Well, Miller is definitely putting on a clinic here. We'll see what happens. Grant is about 7 seconds back, so we'll keep track of that. Gap and see what happens. Janik, has he stopped yet?
I don't think so. And
Interesting.
I'm looking now at Grant. Grant's lap times indicates that he has stopped, so
yeah.
He really has been getting that close to Dave Miller. He stopped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 laps ago.
Okay.
In the case of Ryan Janik, let me check that. No, he has not stopped yet.
I didn't think he had because, he's been going really well, but at some point he's going to have to stop, I would think. Yes, he is showing pit now. So he's coming into the pits. The gap from him to Jakes is 7 seconds. Then he's got another 10 seconds back to Wilkes. So he could drop to 6th there, but we'll see what happens. Depends. It all depends on how quickly he can get out of there.
Yeah, indeed. So it seems that it's a single pit stop race for him. Diamond Watman and Ocella in the grass, but there's no news this evening.
Yeah. In other news, water is wet. Okay. In he comes. Oh my goodness! It appeared there's a car backwards there, in the main. Yeah, and it's an Ocella. Spun around going into the stadium section. Fortunately, nobody hit it. So, and here comes Brian. He's loose already, and he's dropped to 5th, and looks like he's going to drop to. No, he's. That was a good pit stop for Brian. He only lost a couple of positions, so there you go. All right. So that means all the front runners have stopped. And the gap is still about the same between Miller and Grant Riddall. It's about, well, now it's gone up a little bit. It's about 8 seconds. So it'll be really interesting to see if Grant is anything for Miller at this point. Maybe he's been driving with a little bit in hand. What do you guys think?
It's well, certainly the way that he has closed up in the last laps, because at some point there was a 13 or 14, even 14 seconds gap between Miller and him, and now it's obviously much more reduced. So that seems to indicate that Grant really was not giving it his best in the first stint of the race.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe Grant was just maybe holding back in the early stages and just looking after the car, looking after the tyres, and maybe doing a little bit of fuel saving as well now. And now that we're basically about halfway through the race, he's basically trying to use more boost and maybe just go a little bit quicker.
Yeah, well, we're approaching 3/4 race distance now, actually, in another few laps. But yeah, I would think that he was driving with some in hand to start with, but the gap is slowly increasing now, so we'll have to keep an eye and see. Oh no! Miller stopped! Miller has stopped!
Oh no!
Unbelievable! Unbelievable! And he's lost his wing! This is a disaster! Oh no, he's on the escape road. One of his tires is locked up. Oh, please don't. No, he's out of the race! I don't believe it! No!
He went straight in the middle of the corner.
Oh no!
Oh, he crashed in the dreaded chicane.
Unbelievable. Well, that'll promote Grant to the lead. We could be looking at a third victory for Grant in this series, and that will do wonders for his championship standings. Angel May beside herself in the chat. I don't blame her one bit. But that chicane, that dreaded chicane, it's a killer. Unbelievable. So Grant is now your leader. Jakes is in second. Wilkes is in third. Janik is fourth. Del Piccolo fifth. Miller is dropping further down. Nilsson is in sixth. Eventually seventh is going to be Bruno Chacon. Another potential points finish for Bruno Chacon.
Very much so.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. He had everyone covered, Miller. The car was performing beautifully, had a great start. Oh. I've been on the receiving end of a DNF like that, and it is tough. You just sit there in front of your screen for like a minute and a half and just like, you're just like, ugh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not fun. So that's really too bad. But in any case, so now the question becomes, does Jakes have anything for Riddall?
Yeah, we'll see. And also remember that we are only half race, not even half race. It's
No, we
lap
are.
21.
No. It's I've got 28 on my chart.
Sorry, I was looking
Yeah.
at another car in the moment. But anyway, there's still many laps to go, and the engines could also play a part here. We haven't seen any car PQ so far,
Well,
but
that
it could happen.
That and fuel
That and fuel. It
we could see
provide
people-
some dramatic situations.
at the very end. We could have. I mean, we're not going to have a digital recreation of a driver doing a Ralph De Palma routine pushing a car, but definitely there's potential that people could run out of fuel just because they haven't been judicious enough.
Mm-hmm.
And the commentators' curse comments continue on YouTube. I'm getting tired of that. It doesn't. Life does not work that way. It doesn't. Effort equals results. That's what my boss tells me at Penske.
Yeah, commentators' curses to Jason is basically like not swearing words.
I just think I just think it's a rather bleak way to look at life. I mean, you have control. Not to get too philosophical about it, but you have certain things that are under your control, and I'll forget it. I'm not gonna change any minds.
You can't convince the Inquisition.
There are some people in the YouTube chat who are making a real case for being kicked off the chat board right now. But thankfully, I'm not vindictive. So, all right. So the gap between Jake's, it's actually dropped a little bit. It's 19 seconds and change. So maybe Jake's is making a charge here. We'll see. Jason, you did this. You guys are a laugh riot.
So, Richard Coxson, who is out of the race with suspension damage, and he's in the green room, so if you want to interview him.
Oh, okay. Hang on one moment. Mr. Coxson, sorry to see that you had difficulties in this race. Apparently just looked like there were just some off-course excursions. Did they eventually just take a toll on the car and it's the shape it was in?
Yeah, I mean, really annoyed. Really.
Well,
No.
if it's any consolation, I think you have plenty of company in the garage area.
First one was my doing. I would hold my hands up to that. But the other ones, just the way some people are driving is ridiculous.
Just people taking too many chances.
Just doing things that are completely unnecessary.
Well, that's something that can be addressed at the protest level for sure.
Well, the lucky Henry VIII's not about.
Wow. Well, yeah, I mean, we can't catch everything here on the broadcast. We've been doing our best, and we've been having a malfunctioning replay situation. But in any case, yeah, it definitely appears there's been more action out here than we expected. That first start must have been quite a shock.
Yeah, I think it just caught a lot of people out how cold everything is. And Miller, who was sat there a very long time, waiting for the grid to form up. And I don't think that helped. Everything will have gone stone cold again, tyres, brakes. And that first chicane isn't enough to get them up to temperature again. So.
Oh, I can hear Oreo.
Yes, that's the cat. I do apologise.
No, don't apologize. Meow, meow, meow.
So.
All right, well, your teammate is still rolling. He's in 6th place. And
Yeah.
And looking at the championship points, that, one more point that will pull Scuderia Ferrari within 1 of Team Lotus. Not counting, of course, what they're going to score. Actually,
Yeah.
they'll score 3 points. So the battle is really on between Lotus and Ferrari for the Constructors Championship.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can keep the battle up. The next track won't suit us. Hungaroring, but Monza.
But then again, who does the Hungaroring suit?
It suits them Renaults, I'll tell you that.
Oh, it does. Well, it also suits the spectators because it's in a natural amphitheater.
Yeah, it's just a shame we'll see a dual race.
And look at Vadim Tatiak, because he has recovered quite well and is now about to overtake Adam Hackman.
Yeah, there he goes up the inside. So, Richard, would you like us to deposit you back in the main room, or are you going to stay here?
No, I'll leave you to it. You're doing a great job. So
All right.
I'll speak to you all later.
All right, thanks a lot, Richard. Sorry you're out of the race.
Thank you.
All right, so yeah, I mean, definitely that's a fast car that Vadim has. It's a shame because if he hadn't had the incidents he had, he might have been up in the top 3 by now.
Yep. Very unfortunate in that regard.
Yeah, so we got 14 laps to go now.
Whoops! Bruno Chacon. Oh, he flies out and he hits the...
Oh, no! Bruno! Oh, goodness. Well,
Not
at least
sure
he's...
what happened there, why he lost it there on the braking.
Well, you got these cars trimmed out so much that it can be really easy to let that happen. Nilsson...
He touched the curb there. He climbed the curb and he went flying straight. Well, he's in for repairs.
Yep, coming in for repairs at this point. That means Hill is going to move up to 7th place and Vadim up to 8th. So if we have much more attrition, the all may not be lost for these guys.
Yeah, and Brian Janik is on the hunt for Richard Wilkes' 3rd position. I mean, he's not yet in striking distance, but only 5 seconds is the gap that separates them.
Yeah, he'll be there in a bit, believe it or not. Not believe it or not, he will be because it's...
He already has a visual, although
Yeah.
the Lotus in front of him is right now Tim Hille.
Yeah, that's Tim Hill and not Wilkes. Who
Making
gets
room
right
there
out
for
of...
him.
Who's trying to get
Yes.
out of the way at least.
So considering the big gap that Grand Prix has opened, probably the only situation where things could change is this between Brian Janik and Richard Wilkes. Gabriele Del Piccolo is also way behind.
Yeah, but, I mean, again, fuel, engine life.
Yep, that's
mean-
very true.
Yep, Janik making the most of the improvements to the Brabham.
Where is Cesarius? He has disappeared from my screen. Is that also a disco?
No, he's still on my board. He's one lap down in 10th.
Then it's lagging my game.
Well, okay. No, he's out of the race.
Ah,
It could be lag on his end, but I'm looking at a car that's in the... no, he's in the garage. He is definitely out of the race.
oh well.
That's too bad.
Yep,
Oh,
2
man.
in a row then.
That's too bad.
So Wilkes has seen the danger and has been speeding up a bit. But we'll see if this suffices and if the fuel consumption allows him to keep that rhythm till the end of the race.
And... oh, that's AGS. You can see, though, in the distance, looking over Wilkes' wing, you can see Brian closing in.
And to give you the lap times that they both have done.
Yeah.
In the last lap, Wilkes has done 150.4, which is about what he had been doing in the previous laps. In the case of Brian, this has been 150.7, but in the previous ones, he was all the time under 150, 149.1, 0.3, 0.4, but steadily there. So it seems that he has a better rhythm than Wilkes at this point. We will see what happens and how Wilkes responds.
Yeah,
we
I'll
know-
have to say- sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say regarding Brian, it's been a fantastic drive by him up into fourth with the Bravo. What's at times it's never really been up there, but at the moment it's having a good run in fourth.
Simon does a good job of getting out of the way there.
Yeah, but don't tell that to Brian now that he's smelling the blood in the water.
Oh, he is. He's a shark right now. You better believe it.
He's absolutely laser focused on that car in front, that black speck that is there. And this is very interesting because even if normally people would miss it, this is actually a battle. It's as much a battle as if one of them was right 1 or 2 meters in front of the other.
Yeah, like telegraphing it to each other in terms of time gained or time lost.
And putting pressure, because for Wilkes now, I mean, he was in a quite comfortable situation before because he had quite a gap to the car in front, and unless any mishap happened to David Jakes, he was certainly not going to be able to catch up with him. But in this situation, now he's being forced to press on, and this is when errors can happen. Especially in a track like this, where we have said that losing concentration in one of these chicanes can be absolutely devastating. There he is, now clean air between both of them, now that the lap bar is not there anymore.
It's still, I mean, this is a shot that has kind of a fisheye lens
And look
on
at
it.
that, he's clamping up the walls.
Yep.
I mean, he's in a mission, and now it's below 5 seconds, the gap between them, 4.7.
Yep.
So he's really gaining on Wilkes. And I think that Wilkes, because he's very cold-blooded, especially for being a Latin, but I think that Wilkes is basically letting him get closer, trying to save fuel, and then we'll crank up the boost when he needs to.
Yeah, he's just waiting until he may just be playing with him. Who knows? We'll see. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, I think Richards is maybe just kind of just not slowing down completely, like, but just backing off, and maybe on the other hand, maybe just playing mind games with Brian and making him think he's maybe having to feel safe, and then once Brian closes up, he'll just crank the boost up and just try and pull away again in the closing stages.
One interesting thing is that here in the stadium section, the gap all of a sudden increased again to over 5 seconds, which seems to indicate that Wilkes has the car rigged for the turns of the stadium section, and he's very quick there. While Brian is using the most of the streamlined nature of his car to get close in the long straights.
Well, that's smart. Sorry, go ahead.
No, but that means also that if he is close enough at the end, Wilkes is probably going to be defenseless in these long straights. But then again, the track ends in the stadium section, so you never know. Yeah, look at that. Now the gap is below 4 seconds at this point, because Brian is coming so close, thanks to the aerodynamics of his car and how quick he is. Look at that, he's visibly much closer.
Yeah, and Wilkes is driving with a bit more urgency now. You can hear it in the way he's shifting.
Yeah. But look at that,
So-
I mean, they are entering now the stadium section. Gap is 2.2 seconds now, okay?
Yep. This is definitely not a situation anymore where Wilkes is playing with Brian. That's not what's happening here. I think it might very well be fuel saving.
So I was expecting Wilkes to open a gap here, and there you go. I mean, it's over 3 seconds now. But it seems that in the end, Wilkes isn't able to pull that much of a gap. I mean, the last time they went here through the stadium, Wilkes was able to recover 1.5 seconds. That hasn't been the case now. It was only 1 second that he recovered. So the distance now is 3.5 between both. And we know that we are now entering the long section of the long straight, so that Brian is able to catch up. Look at that, he's visibly closer now. 2.7 is the gap, but here in the straights it's going to diminish very quickly.
Yeah, I think that's very smart that Brian would just trim out the car, assuming that's what he did, because the car's not good in turns. It doesn't like to turn. We've chronicled that already in other races. So clearly, you may as well just go for what the car likes to do anyway.
Well, he's stopping at 320 kilometers per hour, which is a bit quicker than Wilkes is doing. And look at that, the gap is now under 2 seconds.
Yep.
I mean, now to the stadium section. Oh boy, and there is a lap car in front, I think. That's not going to be good for Wilkes.
No. Yep, there is a lap car in front.
It's one of the omnipresent Ocellas.
Yep. So it's gonna. I know that they're gonna try to get out of the way, but it could very well factor in here.
Look at that! Oh, Brian nearly there. Oops. At least in my screen, he got sideways over the curve.
Well, he's trying hard. He wants that podium.
That would be the first this season, I think.
He wants that podium. He won an F1 race. Actually, he won the Hungaroring race in a Minardi last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he likes that circuit. I wonder if, of course, this is not an ideal car for the Hungaroring.
No. But you know what I'm thinking now? That there is another circuit, incoming circuit, that will be actually as good as this one for the Brabham. And that's Monza.
Monza, yes.
Oof, this is a relentless pursuit. I mean, the laps are falling one after the other.
Yeah, I was just watching Brian's onboard, and the way he just launched that car through the chicane is just... He's absolutely just on it.
He is leaving nothing on the table. Nothing at all. Very impressive.
Yeah, the question now is, will they make the fuel target?
No, that is the major question. Is the fuel target going to be met? In the case of Wilkes, I'm thinking that he has to pedal back a bit just to make it. Interesting, too, there, the way that Brian was shifting. Did you hear that? He was delaying downshifting until he'd gotten closer. He'd braked a bit and then downshifted.
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't using engine braking as much. Maybe that's a fuel-saving strategy, too. Of course, then you're relying on the brakes more. Bit of an awkward exit there for him. The gap just went up massively, 2 seconds now. So I think it was a combination of that bobble there and the slide that you saw before.
Yep. That's a relief for Wilkes now.
Yeah.
Remember also that all the time Brian has one more gear to be changing.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. He's got 7 gears.
This must be really stressing for him, because you are in 7th gear, and in that chicane you are in 2nd.
Yeah.
Imagine what this is rolling through the gears. Although if he's using an edge shifter, maybe he's directly shifting like Little Ali is doing from 7th to 2nd or something like that.
Maybe.
That could explain the way that he's using the engine braking.
Could be.
Oh, Wilkes! Look at that, he spins.
Oh, Wilkes has spun! My goodness.
It seems that it paid off.
Well, he put pressure on him, and looks like it got to him, yeah. Wilkes is in 4th now. Oh, my goodness. So Brian is elevated to 3rd. He's on the podium.
He's in 4th, yes, but he's only 6 seconds in front of Del Piccolo.
Yeah, Del Piccolo now sees an opportunity, I'm sure.
Ooh, this could hurt for Richard Wilkes. These are the things that maybe they're late in the season. You are going to say, oh, if only I could have kept this 3rd place.
Well, there's only 1 point there, but you're right. We've seen championships decided by 1 point, and sometimes
by
a half a point.
Even.
Yes. So yeah, in the end, that could come down to, like, I had the same reaction when it's the little things like, last Sunday in the Schaefer 500, I lost the race by 0.366 seconds. Now, of course, I'm going to naturally go, well, my last pit stop, I didn't get out quick enough, so that's what cost me the win. But then I look back further, and I'm like, no, actually, it was taking 4 tires in my second stop. I really didn't need to do that, and that would have saved me 7 seconds, and there's the win. So, you're always thinking that at the end of a race or at the end of a season where you are that close with points, what could I have done differently? Where was that point I could have picked up? So
it's only human, but it doesn't
Yes.
help anymore.
No, it doesn't. But it's it's human nature to do that.
Now let's see what Gabriele can do.
Yeah, he's just dispensed with Tim Hilla. So we'll see what he can do.
Well, it's not yet over because you still have to make the fuel. So we will see what happens in the last laps. We've seen, remember in Paul Ricard, how David Jakes had to dramatically slow down and he even lost the podium position. To Wilkes, actually.
Well, this is going to make the championship even more tight because we were saying early on that it's going to be a battle between, it looked like a knockdown drag out between Nilsson and Wilkes, but it looks like we have a third contender emerging here in the form of Grant Riddall, who had a slow start to the season through some drives that were spectacular, but ultimately didn't net him any points. But now he certainly seems to have got his head on straight as far as how to drive this car. Andrew's out of the race.
It's blown the engine.
Oh, well, there you go.
First barbecue.
Yeah, it's our first that we expected we would see. So that means that's going to elevate Hilla to 6th place, Vadim to 7th place.
And I should say that Brian Janik doesn't seem to have enough with what he has done so far, because he's now like 7 seconds behind David Jakes, but he's catching up on him.
Oh yeah, you can see him there. He's just out in front.
Oh, he's just losing a lot of time behind Brian Riddle.
No, he's got him now. Into the chicane once again that everybody loves.
And I think that Wilkes has not given up yet too. He's only 5 seconds behind Brian. Problem is the number of laps that are remaining. But let's see if we see any kind of dramatic slowdown at the end from someone.
Yeah, we'll see.
Grant, meanwhile, is in another galaxy. He's going to complete another lap. That's lap number 40.
So he's got lap 41, 42, 43, and 44 to go. So 4 laps to go. And that car just looks like it's on rails right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just really, really well done. His dad hasn't had the best of races. He's down in 13th, but I'm sure he's going to be really happy to see Grant notch another win in this series and assert himself even more in the championship hunt. Assuming that he gets there. As we've already had one barbecue, and fuel concerns are definitely something we want to think about. The gap is 20 seconds between Grant and Jakes. And then 7 seconds back but from Jakes to Brian Janik. The gap is 6 seconds between Wilkes and Janik.
And Brian, even if he's not in a position to overtake for sure, but he's playing the same trick on David Jakes that he has done with good results on Richard Wilkes, and that's to keep up the pressure from behind.
This
because
is also
Jakes knows that he cannot slow down.
Yeah, this is also going to be an excellent points haul for Benetton, because with Jakes in second with 6 points and Del Piccolo in 5th with 2, that means they'll net 8 points from this race, which is going to be good for their constructors. They're right now in 5th place in the Constructors Championship, so they're a bit ways back, but that's a good points haul for them.
And another lap for Grant.
Yep, Grant just reeling these off without much. He's a little loose in the exit there, but he looks pretty good.
Whoops. Barbecue by Riddle.
Oh, man.
Starting to see the dents of the blown engines. So
Yes, there it is. You know, this is concerning because with another one of those is in the lead right now.
Indeed.
So if I were Grant, I would be turning the boost down and taking it easy, especially with 20 seconds in hand.
Yeah, it's more of a question of the RPMs more than the turbo boost, I think. And he's really not going too far above 10,000, so he's doing his best, certainly. 10,500 at most. And when he is on the longer gears, he's not stretching it.
So looking back over this race, are you guys surprised at how much carnage there was? I mean, Ryan, were you expecting as many silly things to happen?
On the first start, I never expected that, but on the second start, it seemed to be a lot more sensible. But I have to agree with Richard Coxson. He did make a good point during his interview that some of the driving from some people would just looked a bit desperate or just a little bit too aggressive for my liking. So maybe some warning to them for the next round might just calm them down.
I give Coxson credit too. He didn't call anyone out specifically. He just made it clear that he was not happy. That's a classy way to deal with it. So, oh, look at Grant. He has slowed right down. He lets Bruno go by. He is absolutely throttling back now in the car. The gap is down to 20 seconds dead practically.
Yeah, he's in fuel saving mode.
Yeah, he's in fuel saving mode for sure. He's on his second to last lap now. And Janik's closing on Jakes, but not fast enough to have any kind of an impact. And Wilkes is 8 seconds back. So if those guys keep going, that's probably going to be static there. But the real question is, does Grant have enough fuel to make it to the end? Now he's up with Bruno again. It's rather awkward, I'm sure. But in any case, yeah, he's not even trying to go around him. He's just paying out the lead that he has now. He just wants to get it home. Smart driving from Grant here.
And I can see Jakes is also short shifting it back big time.
Yep. Well,
so he seems to be concerned with the fuel.
No ISO barbecue sauce for these guys. At least not if they can help it.
Whoops. I think he missed a shift there.
Yeah, the gap's now down to 18 and a few seconds and change. So yeah, he's just absolutely cashing in his chips where that's concerned.
Yeah. He's catching up with Jakes, and I tell you, Jakes had a top speed of 280 in the main straight, whereas in the case of Brian, it was 320. So that gives you an idea of how much each of them is stretching the engine. And look at that, Brian is flying. Yep. He's catching up with him in the stadium section. It's incredible that Brian is able to do this with the same amount of fuel.
It's just not going to be close enough, I don't think. I mean, it's going to require a real mistake by Jakes, I think, at this point.
I don't know, because, well, we'll see. We're coming now to the section where Brian is actually quicker, same as happened with Wilkes. He has the car really trimmed out for this section, and the speed is absolutely brutal.
Yeah, well, we'll keep an eye on him. Grant is in the first chicane now.
So Jake's top speed here was 323. In the case of Janik, is 330 something.
Oh. Well, Grant only has to do the dreaded Ostkurve chicane one more time, and he's done it. He doesn't have to do the Ostkurve chicane anymore. So
good for him.
Yes, I'm sure. I'm sure that he's happy about that. The last car running on the track right now is Simon Watman, 8 laps in arrears. But lots of carnage today. Lots of, I mean, for a track that's so simple on paper, it certainly produces wild results. On the backside of the course now is Grant. He's coming up now into the stadium, actually. My apologies. Downshift. And it appears He just has a few corners to go here, and he will take his 3rd win in this season. Again, as I mentioned before, a slow start. Fast performances, but not necessarily points-paying ones. But here he comes off of the final corner. And there it is. Grant Riddall is going to win the German Grand Prix for Ligier, his 3rd win of this season. And he celebrates by weaving the car back and forth.
Here
Great
comes
job.
Jakes. Here comes Janik.
Yep, Jakes finishes in 2nd, and a fantastic drive by Brian Janik nets him 3rd, the last place on the podium.
Yeah, absolutely. The man of the day.
4th is Richard Wilkes. I'm sure he's disappointed that he wasn't able to be on the podium. 5th place, Del Piccolo, a great drive for him. He is just now entering the stadium section, so he's got a few more corners to go.
Wilkes has parked the car after entering 4th. And Tim Hill is going to get the last point.
Yeah, and Tim Hill is way down. Well, actually, you know what? Considering the issues that Tim had earlier, I think he'll be very happy to get that 1 point.
Vadim Tasiak will finish in 7th. Adam Hackman 8th, although he hasn't taken the checkered flag yet. Jason Whitehead has driven the AGS to a 9th position.
That's pretty amazing.
It is.
And then Bruno is 10th, 11th for Pagiola, 12th for Nilsson out of the race. Then 13th for Watman. I'm sorry, 13th for Ray Riddall. Simon Watman's 14th. Yes, 14th. 15th, Shlipinski. 16th, Dave Miller. Then it's Coxson, Sibignani, Drexler, Rocha, Bouchard, Equino, Olsen, Saber, Remen, Team, and David Yunt was the first retirement from the race.
Oh, and it seems that Vadim Tasiak also broke the engine.
Yeah, he did. He had a late barbecue there.
Yeah.
So joining us in the booth now is Dave Miller. Dave, really sorry to see what happened to you at the end there, because you had obviously the pace to lead and to pull out in front, but that dreaded Ost curve chicane just got you in the end, it looked like.
Yes, I've already started building an effigy of it.
Well, I think you have some people who would line up for that too, because nobody likes that chicane. Anybody who does, I don't get it. But you had excellent pace early on, though.
Yeah, it is a shame. I was really hoping to get a decent finish to this race to finish the Williams adventure with, but wasn't to be. So well done to Grant, and also just thanks to everyone at ISO for. I don't know if anyone has seen the forum, but yes, this will be my last race with the Williams due to real life commitments.
Oh, that's too bad, but that's the way things work. What kind of commitments are you talking about? Like work or?
Yeah, it's a change of role and going on to shift patterns, so can't do every Sunday anymore.
All right, well, that's unfortunate, but it's good to be among the working, that's for sure. So we wish you continued success with that.
That it is, and just as a final thing from me, I do want to just say a massive thank you to ISO and everyone who's made the last few years of racing here just what they have been, and just as special through such a difficult time. You know, I've always had Sunday evenings to look forward to for the last few years to be here and racing, so it's been fantastic, and I already can't wait for the next race that I can do, which will be the Imola 1000K, and
which is next week.
No, that's Brands Hatch next week.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, I'm thinking of a different race. Yeah. All right. Well, no, thanks for dropping by. We appreciate it. And sorry about the way that your race finished out, but we were very impressed with your pace throughout. So.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Well, that was the German Grand Prix. Before we go, let's remind everybody of what's coming up at ISO. The British Aerospace 1000 is next Sunday. It's round 4 of 6 of that DRM championship, a very short championship. Check the forum schedule for that. And everybody who's sharing rides better make sure that they know how to switch beforehand. And then coming up July 11th, the next round, the Hungarian Grand Prix, a processional in Hungary. We'll see if there's any fun battles there, but be prepared for a bit of processional. We'll see how it goes. And then we finish out the month of July with the Machinist Union 150 at Trenton, the Kidney Bean, round 10 of 18 of the USAC series, and green flag for that 2000 CEST. So any final thoughts, gentlemen?
Well, I think it was a carnage as expected. We know that these chicanes were going to take its toll. We had already mentioned that this is a track that historically was very dangerous, but I think it was really eye-watering to not see Dave Miller, after his domination, be able to consolidate that and say goodbye to the series with a victory that I think was well-deserved. Anyway, great win for Grant, and I'm happy because that spices up the championship even more.
Ryan?
Yeah, that was a great race. Like I mentioned, we had the carnage on the first start, but after we got the second start out of the way, it seemed to settle down, and there was plenty of battles and good racing going on. And if I was to pick a driver of the day, I would have to go for Brian Janik, just because he put on a great drive with the Brabham, and he got a well-deserved podium. So for me, he's my driver of the day.
Yeah, I would say that's a very good pick for, not that we have an actual trophy for driver of the day, but if we did, I would think that would definitely go to him. Well, I thought it was a great contest as well, and congratulations to Grant on a great victory. And I agree with Alberto 100%. It'll add spice to the championship, which has already been really good. So that's going to do it for our broadcast for this evening. So for Ryan Walker and Alberto Ibañez, this is Jason White saying so long from Hockenheim. We'll see you next time. Take care.